Viewers, it's your friend Sree Iyer again, and I want to talk about the miracle in Brisbane that the Indian cricket team pulled off. It is nothing but a miracle, and it also tells you that India's bench strength is perhaps very, very strong at this point. If not, it's probably the most strongest in a while. For players like Washington Sundar, Shardul Takur to come in and shine like this when they knew fully well that there is no guarantee that they'll be getting an opportunity again to play for India in tests is just out of the world. In fact, if I have to draw parallels, I am reminded of the 1984 movie Miracle on Ice. In that movie, United States team, ice hockey team comprising of university kids defeated the then best ice hockey team in the world, the Russian team. And the coach summarizes it best before they go in with the team selection. He says, 9 out of 10 times, this is for the final when they are playing Russia, 9 out of 10 times, this team will lose to Russia. But there's always the one time that they can surprise Russia, and surprise they did. That was an incredible movie, 1984, Kurt Russell as the coach. Do watch it to get you some sense of how in sports you can spring a surprise. I'm not saying that the Indian cricket team or the Indian coach planned this surprise. It just happened that way with the amount of injuries that they had, and they had to do something like this. In fact, the boldest decision for which I laud the captain and the coach was to bring in Washington Sundar in place of third choice spinner Kuldeep Yadav. He must have felt hardened because he was one of the first selections to play, but keeping in mind the fact that they needed some batting in the tail, I think they chose wisely to bring in Washington Sundar, and what a difference that made. He was not only effective as a batsman, he also did well as a bowler, although he has to go some distance in both faculties to become a complete all-rounder. He's not there yet, but very, very promising talent find there. Shardul Takur, another one who can be a wicket-taking option. If you go back and see many of the Ranji Trophy matches, you'll always see Shardul Takur in the wickets. He had a knack of taking wickets. So that was a very good addition. And what played out was just amazing. And if I have to say who really shone in the final test, there are 6 names that come to my mind. Mohammad Siraj for generating the kind of pace and accuracy and the temperament to play at this level is just incredible. If you look at the speedometer gun, it was showing 130, 135, 136, but you just look at the response of the batsman, then you know that perhaps he was coming off very quickly off the wicket. See, what happens is the ball loses some pace when it bounces, and then it's like 3-4 Ks less. But it looked like in case of Mohammad Siraj, he was able to really get that speed. And you have to look at the videos more closely. I watch for all these things to try and understand what makes a certain player tick. The second player in my list who shone in the last test was Shubman Gill, because he set it up nicely for a fantastic chase in the end. Very compact player. In fact, if you think that Prithvi Shaw was rated higher than Shubman Gill, and because Shah had some unfortunate failures that Shubman got a look in, you can imagine a fully freely stroking Prithvi Shaw, what he could be. He was supposed to be a combination of Sehwag and Tendulkar, and we'll have to wait to see that talent come out. The third player that I'd like to mention is without a doubt Cheteshwar Pujara. He has become the new wall. He has earned it, and he's probably still hurting from the bruises he got. You have to remember that this is the best pace attack in the world today, and they went at him. There was a very clear-cut plan to try and hit people's bodies. In fact, I'm going to come to this in a little bit time. They targeted even some of the bowlers. So, any rate, Pujara, hats off to him. He is the anchor around which the batting of India revolves, And as long as he's there, he puts a very high price on his wicket. India is going to do well. The next player that I'd like to mention is Shardul Takur. His free-flowing batting in the first inning was a treat to watch. He played like a proper batsman. There were a few shots here and there, but you knew that here is a guy who's really enjoying his time out there. It's as if he told himself, who knows when I'm going to bat again. I mean, remember that the first test he played before this, he only lasted 10 balls before he walked off in pain. He was bowling. So Shardul Takur got a lot of wickets and he also scored well. So that's another good find. And Rishabh Pant, what can I say? Rishabh Pant had this never say die attitude. And in fact, the best compliment that Rishabh got was from the opposition's team captain, Tim Payne, who said Rishabh Pant was very difficult to set field to because he could hit the ball to any part of the ground. And if you remember, one of the shots that really stood out for me in this test was the lap scoop that Rishabh Pant executed when India was within sight of the victory. He could have been more conventional, but he had so much confidence in himself that he went ahead and hit that lap scoop shot. And lastly, Washington Sundar. Here's a guy who has made his mark as a T20 bowler, and you can see that he knows how to curtail runs. A good stock bowler, and if he works on his variations, in fact, I think one of his wickets was the ball that went the other way, sort of like the carom ball that Ravichandran Ashwin uses. But whatever it is, it was good to see him among wickets in his very first test. I've seen some horror debuts for Indian players. This one, luckily, was a very pleasant one. In fact, it's his batting that was even more remarkable. Just take this thing. Mayank Agarwal had just gotten out. There were 60, 70, 80 runs left still to score. And Washington Sundar carries on from that point forward. In fact, I live in California, and when Agarwal got out, I said, well, maybe India will salvage a draw. To my intense surprise, India had won the game. And then when I started looking at the highlights, I was blown away by that one hook shot that Washington Sundar executed. You have to look at the ESPN Cricket Info ball-by-ball description to understand how he was being set up by Pat Cummins. The first 3 balls, I think, were all making him to come forward, or he was on his crease, and I'm sure he was expecting a bouncer any ball at that point of time, so he was ready for it. Yet, if you look at the way he executed that shot, you would be tempted to think that the ball came faster at him than he expected, which is why he was hooking, and he was also in the air to get the bat at the right position for the ball, and he managed to get it just right. A fantastic shot, and that kind of gives you a glimpse into the talent and the potential this person possesses. And I can't tell you enough about the importance of having left-handed, right-handed batsmen even in your test team. Even though there is no wide ball, if the ball is bowled down the leg side like in the ODIs and T20s, it still is important to have batsmen of either hands from 1 to 6. The best is if you have 3 of each, and also if at any given time at the crease there is a left-handed batsman and a right-handed batsman. Let's hope that India does just as well against England. After all, that's a home series, and many of the players who are now injured will be back. I'm told that Cheteshwar Pujara is available, and Ravichandran Ashwin is going to be playing, and of course Virat Kohli will be back. So it will be a very good series. And there is one last thing that I'd like to leave this talk with, and that is the small problems that players carry with them, which necessitates them to go to the massage table almost every day to get their things going. And I don't know how many of you know this, but Ayurveda believes in oil massages. And in fact, Ayurveda can keep all those things like muscular pulls, knee issues, arthritic related problems, rheumatism problems, all those things where on a rainy day you start feeling pain and so on and so forth. It is the best place, it's the best solution, it's the best remedy. And for a player like Ashwin, he's now 34 years old, he can easily play another 6 years in IPL. I'm not even thinking about test matches. I'm sure he is good for 6 years for test matches. And he can do that provided he spends maybe once every 2 years the complete 21-day schedule rigor that Ayurveda requires you to do. In fact, it's a very fascinating course. The first 7 days they detox you. The next 7 days is the real treatment, and the last 7 days they bring you back to the normal world. There is a little bit of sattvic bhojan for that, but it is worth every day, every minute. It also allows you to relax and think about other things, and I would highly recommend it to anyone who's having problems that are difficult to solve, either using surgery or by just taking painkillers. That's all for now. Thanks for watching, and do subscribe to PGurus channel. Namaskar.